Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. Of this video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 of the most dangerous toys ever. So let's go ahead and get started.
10.
The BK Pokeballs. So in November of 1999, the fast food restaurant Burger King released a set of 57 Pokemon toys which would be included in their Happy Meals. Now, children loved these because they loved Pokemon, and it was very popular to a point where they actually ran out of the Pokeballs. But in hindsight, it was probably better that they did run out, because a month later, a report had come out that a 13-month-old girl suffocated on the toy and was found dead in her playpen. At first, people were only given a warning, but soon enough, Burger King actually issued a formal recall, and that was the end of the toy.
9.
The CSI Fingerprint Examination Kit. So every child always had a dream of being a detective, and this toy was perfect for them. The CSI Fingerprint Examination, you were able to mimic a real-life crime scene by collecting evidence with the array of goodies that came in the box. One way to do this was actually to use dust, and this technique was able to locate fingerprints. It was pretty cool because the children would just dust over different areas of their house and be able to look at the fingerprints. Unfortunately, though, this dust ended up being more harmful than helpful. It was found out that the dust that came with the kit contained a deadly form of asbestos, an occupational hazard. In some cases, only one exposure to the mineral could cause lung cancer, so very, very deadly.
8.
The Creepy Crawlers. So this toy involved the use of a plastic goop. This was a syrup-like liquid and an electric-powered oven that heats up this goop or this liquid to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. The idea behind the toy was similar to the beads, where children would be able to create different things. In this case, they would be able to mold the liquid and create little bugs and animals and things like that, and they would eventually heat it up in the oven where it would bind permanently. Now, there was actually a number of problems with this toy, starting out with the oven, which children would just burn their fingers in because of how hot it was. There's also problems with the liquid because it was apparently very toxic to breathe, and it contained many deadly fumes, so it definitely had a pretty harmful effect on many children.
7.
The Sky Dancers. So similar to the Cabbage dolls, these toys were very popular, especially during the 90s and beyond. The idea of the toy was to pull the base of the toy, and the doll would launch in the air like a helicopter flying, and children would just be amazed by how cool it looked. Eventually, the dangers of the toy did catch up to everyone. When the toy was in the air, there were many reports of scratched corneas, blindness, broken ribs, and many other injuries related to the Sky Dancer. It would basically stab people in different places and just cause these injuries. A total of 170 injuries were reported, and the toy was actually banned in 2000.
6.
The Aqua Dots. So the Aqua Dots were crafting beads that could be used to design a number of cool things like animals and monkeys. These were colorful beads that when water was applied, the dots would permanently bind to complete the design. However, the Aqua Dots became a very dangerous toy immediately. Reports came out that children would vomit when the beads were placed in their mouth and swallowed, and some even went into coma, so it was pretty scary. The problem was the chemical used to make the beads. It was found out that the chemical that was used was the same chemical used to make the date rape drug. So it was a pretty scary toy and very life-threatening as the chemical was very dangerous.
5.
Jarts. So these were a type of darts that were used in a variety of different ways. Mainly people had to aim and throw these jarts into different directions and rings and targets and things like that. They would have it on their lawn, and they would just try to aim it inside the target. Now here's where the problem lied, though. The darts were constructed with metal, giving them some type of weight. It was heavier than most darts that you'd find. And putting these in the hands of children wasn't the best idea because they would carelessly throw them around. This all amounted to many serious injuries where the darts would end up hitting people in the face and on their body, and many were injured severely, and there was actually 3 deaths related to the Jarts. In the end, it was a pretty harmful toy because of all the injuries that it caused.
4.
The Cabbage dolls. So these were a popular line of dolls among young children. The idea behind the toy was its motorized mouth, which would open and close when you would put plastic snacks into it. But rather than munching on the plastic snacks, the doll would actually munch on fingers of children, and that's not really something that you want. Parents would also report that their children's skin and hair would get caught inside the doll's mouth, and in 1996, 500,000 of these dolls were recalled, and the company actually offered a $40 refund to the owners of the doll, so you know it's bad when the company refunds the money.
3.
The Easy Bake Oven. So this was supposed to simulate a real oven. It looked like a real oven, and it actually came with these little plastic food that children could put inside of it and pretend like they were actually baking something, which was the whole point of the toy. But that didn't go as planned because children would accidentally put their fingers inside the oven, and they would get their fingers stuck in there and even burned. So there were over 250 reports of kids having their fingers caught in the oven, and they just couldn't take it out. Many even had second and third degree burns, and in some rare cases, children even had to get their fingers amputated, which just doesn't sound good for children. So it was a pretty dangerous toy considering just how bad the injuries had been.
2,
The moon shoes. Apparently people didn't quite understand how gravity worked when buying a pair of these. So the moon shoes were basically a mini trampoline that you could put on your feet and make you jump really high. They were advertised on Nickelodeon, so it became, again, very popular among children and many adults as well. Many parents ended up complaining, however, that their children had fractured their ankles while using these. So what would happen is children would jump really high, and when landing they didn't really quite land the way they wanted, and children would just suffer these really bad injuries. The company went ahead and issued a recall eventually, but the injury did leave some people just scratching their heads on why exactly this was even a toy.
1,
The slip and slide. Now, you've probably seen this one on TV commercials. It's pretty popular for all ages. So this is basically a 16-foot sheet of plastic, and it was like the perfect summertime backyard activity. Everyone would participate, sliding down the sheet of water and cooling off during those hot days, but things took a sharp turn when the Consumer Product Safety Commission actually issued a warning about the slip and slide to mostly older people who used it. Apparently the size of the slip and slide was only meant for young children, and many adults had been in serious injuries like spinal cord and leg fractures, so it caused a number of crazy injuries. And this was particularly one of those toys that were actually safer for children than adults, so it was interesting to see how that turned out. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed that list. Go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know if you've ever owned any of these toys. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos from us, and we'll see you guys in the next video.